happening, APLers? Here with a week 8 preview. Got some good matchups this week. A few fun things to talk about. So here we go. The reflection and Kamara's visor here is pretty fun. But anyway, nobody cares about that. First matchup is Daggy versus Tank. So the question every week should be, will Daggy get his first win? So we'll walk through it here and see what the answer to that question is. So quarterback, Daggy looks like he has the advantage here. So two tough matchups. The Cowboys have been tough against the pass this year. Stafford gets them on the road. The good news for Daggy there is that Geno Smith gets the Browns, who, other than somehow by Gardner Minshew got lit up last week, they have been really hard defense to play against. Geno gets them at home, but it still doesn't look great. So a little advantage there at the quarterback spot for Daggy. The bad news is the running back spot looks like atrocious and terrible. So Daggy's starting Zeke, like the Zeke that plays for the Patriots, not the one from the Cowboys a few years ago. And Pierre Strong, he's like the backup, maybe probably the backup in Cleveland. Seems like Jerome Ford might play. He's going to give it a try tomorrow, and then Kareem Hunt is going to play. So he could be just the backup, or he could be the backup to the backup. Either way, it doesn't look like a great day there for Pierre Strong, but who knows? So those guys are projected to score 112 points total. Kamara there for Tank has been catching like 12 passes a game. Is scheduled for 116. He's been a point machine since coming back. It's because Derek Carr just throws it to him all the time. And then ETN has been great all year. So he's got a 126 there against the Steelers, who aren't very good at stopping the run. So running back is a decided advantage there to Tank. That would be expected given the fire sale, but still got to talk about it. Pass catchers. He's not looking too bad. Addison had a huge game last week, obviously. Everybody probably knows and watched that. The 88 points against the Packers seems like it might be a little bit low here. Maybe Jair travels with him. I don't know if he really does that. I should probably know, but I don't know. So we'll see. Addison could do some more. Godwin had a nice game on Thursday night, 93 points there. Curtis Samuel is in the lineup over Tyler Lockett for Daggy here. Samuel gets the Eagles. Eagles' pass defense has been not good. They give up like a lot of passing yards a game. So Daggy's probably trying to play the matchup there rather than Lockett against the Browns. And the Browns have been tough against the pass, as you mentioned. So looking for the advantage there. And then, of course, there's Kyle Pitts against the Titans. Titans are kind of a pass funnel. So maybe there's a spot for a even bigger game than 101 points there from Kyle Pitts. So, not all terrible in the pass catchers for Daggy's side. Tank side, he's got Ayuk against the Bengals. Purdy is going to play, so that's good. Ayuk, big first half last year, and then didn't throw him, last week, and then didn't throw him at all in the second half. So I wonder maybe they'll pass to him more. Debo's still out. This Bengals 49ers game is kind of one of the more interesting ones this week to see how the game flow goes in that. Is it a lot of defense? Do they pass a lot? Do they score a lot? How's it all go? So 91 points for Ayuk. Diggs had a little bit of a down game for him on Thursday night, 79 points there, as Gabe Davis was the top point scorer of the pass catchers, or I should say the receivers. And then Devonta against the Commanders. It's the Commanders aren't good at defense. Devonta's good at catching the ball. They don't throw it to him very much. So 74 points is the projection there. Always could be more, but it's just been the A.J. Brown show for Philly so far this year. So see if that changes this week. And then the big guy there for a Tank, Kelsey with the 202 is a big one. So Tank gets a little advantage there, also driven by Kelsey. I debated kickers and defense are thrown in here at the same at 85 points for the kickers and then 35 for all the defense. I debated changing that stuff this week, and I just went with the same old format. So this is Tank coming out to a 1158 to 943 victory here. So let's say Tank wins any honor. The fire sale is real for Daggy, and it's kind of a cakewalk for Tank. So Tick would move to 7-1. Dake would go to 8. But he'll get a win here at some point. All right, next matchup is, I think, the matchup of the week. It is Jake versus Sade. So I think this is a big mover here this week. So Sade gets the win. In this one, he moves to 6-2. Jake would drop to 4-4. Kind of like there's 6 weeks left after this week, so there's anything can happen. But 2-game lead here for Sade feels pretty good. But if Jake can get the win, both these guys are 5-3. And then you got we'll talk about Ryan next matchup here too. But it could be pretty good mix here all at 5-3. So very interested to see what happens in this matchup, because I think the implications down the road are pretty big. So I'm trying to mix some different players in here on the background slides here. So Pickens is just fun. I wish he played for a different team so they could do more stuff, because he seems like he's kind of wasted in Pittsburgh, but he's been great so far since Deontay's been hurt. So quarterback is the first spot here. Dak beats the Rams. Projections like just don't like Dak like ever. So 290 again feels low. Not sure it is low, but it just feels low against the Rams. The game's at noon this week, which I think seems weird. Seems like the Rams and Cowboys should be playing at 3 for sure. So it's at noon. Today has Herbert against the Bears on Sunday night. 332 is the prediction for Herbert there. The Bears, it just seems like it could be a lot more, or it could be similar to last week where they just didn't need to pass as much, so they just stopped doing it. But stick with the 332. Running back spot here for Jake. He is the all-world Christian McCaffrey, $140 against the Bengals. Obviously could be 200, but he's scheduled for well over 125 every week. Aaron Jones gets the Vikings tomorrow. From what I've heard and read is that Aaron Jones is still not quite 100%, and the Packers are going to kind of ease him in. AJ Dillon got more carries last week than Jones, so 82 points projected there for Jones. Maybe gets a big one against their defense in the passing game, something like that. Gets him up there. Running backs for today, he gets the newly acquired Tony Pollard to go against the Rams. 115 point total there. Eckler gets the Bears. Bears are really bad at defense, so 111 might be low. Just could be a game-changing number there from Eckler. Feels like a good spot for him to get his first big number of the year there against the Bears. Pass catchers. I think this is where Jake could do some damage. So Jamar Chase against the 49ers. It seemed like a pretty formidable matchup until last week when Jordan Addison went nuts on the 49ers. So maybe Chase could do the same thing. Could think that that's what the Bengals need to do to try to win the game. Kind of copy the blueprint that the Vikings used last week with tons of passing. So it's a good spot. TJ Moore gets the Chargers. Assume they're going to be behind. Assume they're going to need to throw the ball. It's concerned that the quarterback can't throw the ball, but excuse me. So he should be fine. Pickens against the Jags. Talked about before. I think he's really good. I just wish they did more with him. So 87 points for Pickens is pretty solid. And then Kittle, we talked about it all year. Kittle is boom bust, so you can get like 20 points or like 200 from Kittle. We'll see which dude shows up. That could swing this matchup a little bit. Today's wide receiver is pretty solid. Same guys been rolling out for a while. Kirk has been great. Other than week 1, he's just been really good. Kua obviously has been probably the best waiver wire pickup of the year so far. Gets that tough Cowboys defense. And then Waddle against the Patriots. Patriots have done a good job shutting down Tyreek, so maybe it's a spot for Waddle to jump up and do more than what he's done so far. I think that most owners, including fantasy owners, including today, are probably disappointed with what Waddle's done so far this year. It feels like there's a lot more to come from that guy. And then Waller gets the Jets. he had a big breakout game last week with Tyrod. Tyrod's still back there, so that's a good spot there for Waller. Jets defense is tough, but maybe they find some spots for Waller. So throw in the kickers and the defenses here. Today's got coming out with a close win here. So I'll give the nod to today. I think he's going to sneak by, but these 3 games are the key in this matchup. So the Dallas and the Rams is big. So you get Dak there, you got Nakua in that game too. So, and then Tony Pollard. So like those, how does that game go? What's the game flow? Or do the Cowboys get up big, and then do they just run with Pollard, and do the Rams have to throw? And there's a lot more targets for Nakua there, or what? And then San Francisco, Cincinnati, as it is most weeks with Jake. He's got McCaffrey and Kittle rolling there, so those are big. So we'll see how that game rolls there too. And then Jamar Chase is in that one too. So it's a big game for Jake to see how that goes. Hoping for a shootout. And then Chargers Bears. It's another one here. So today's got Herbert and Eckler, and then DJ Moore in that one too. So I think those 3 are really going to drive it. Kind of rare to have that many games that kind of go back and forth where people have guys on each team. So this will be fun to watch. Next matchup is the interdivision matchup, interdivision matchup this week. Here, Ryan versus Greg. The quarterback spot. Cousins 325 for Ryan. You got the SportsCenter top 10 chain there. The JJ threw on him on Monday night. And Greg has Jalen Hurts. He's Commanders. Great spot. Commanders really bad at pass defense, and Hurts can light him up. A little advantage there to Greg. The running back spot, Mostert, got to start him for Ryan against the Patriots. Say they're going to mix in Jeff Wilson a little bit more this week, but Mostert will still be the dude. Got to get the starts out of him while Achane still hurt. Jonathan Taylor seems to be taking over the backfield. Zach Moss is maybe going to play. Sounds like they're going to test it out and see how much pressure he can put on his ankle or foot or something tomorrow. So it could be even a bigger spot if Zach Moss isn't going to play. Saints defense is tough, but full workload to Taylor would be a big deal. So Greg this week. So I said the no shit award of the year. I almost called the Greg award when he makes if you make a start that doesn't make sense, but it somehow works out. I think that these 2 here are pretty good examples of things that Greg does that usually work out. So he's traded for Derrick Henry. He's traded for Joe Mixon. You'd think that those guys would be in the lineup, but they're not. So Mixon plays the Mixon plays the 49ers. It's a tougher matchup. So it can kind of get why Mixon is out. Mixon also hasn't been that great for a couple of years. So sure, I can see that. But Derrick Henry not being in the lineup is surprising to me. He doesn't project that much better than Edwards or Dameon Pierce. So you can kind of understand it, but just putting Derrick Henry in your lineup instead of Gus Edwards seems like something that you'd want to do. But Greg's playing the matchups. Gus Edwards gets the Cardinals, who are really bad with stopping the run. Kieran Williams went nuts on him a couple weeks ago. The Seahawks were okay against them last week, but good matchup. And then Dameon Pierce gets the Panthers, another really good matchup here. So Greg's got good matchups. The totals are probably down a little bit just because those guys are not getting all the touches. So Singletary got, I think, more touches in the last game for the Texans. So we'll see how it goes. The pass catchers, Ryan's guys are just kind of ridiculous. So AJ Brown, Commanders, great spot, super awesome. Cooper Kupp, it's Cowboys, tougher spot. It's still Cooper Kupp, wouldn't be too worried. And then Thielen is just catching a lot. They're throwing him the ball on every other play, and he catches all of it for 10 or 12 yards, and the points just rack up. And then Laporta has been really good all year, so 100 points seems fine. 120, sure. Some more questions here for Greg. Nico Collins gets the Panthers. I think that's a good spot, but only 85 points. Romeo Dobbs was a pickup last week. I kind of thought it would just be a spot start against the Broncos, but Greg's rolling with him again this week against the Vikings pass defense. Probably hoping for some type of shootout or shoddy pass defense from the Vikings, which isn't called for, but it just has Jordan Love throwing the ball, which hasn't looked great lately. So not sure on that one. Olave gets the Colts. Colts are good at allowing pass yardage, so this is a good spot for Olave. Maybe he can run as fast as he was coming back from CVS to catch some deep balls too. Get on the good side of Greg. Greg doesn't love him. Goddard against the Commanders. He's always a threat to go crazy, so it's looking good there. So Goddard and LaPorta, they kind of cancel each other out. But pass catchers here definitely advantage to Ryan. So throwing kickers and defense. You got Ryan coming out to like 120-point win. So the depth on Ryan's team was just too much in this matchup. The depth of the starting lineup is really good. So Greg needs a few to get the win. Greg needs, I think, Hurts and Goddard to go crazy, get something big from one of the other guys in the lineup, and then needs Ryan to have a few down games and Cousins to get kind of just shut down by the Packers to have a big advantage there at quarterback. The next matchup is me versus the Boot Barn for the week. So Boot Barn got further depleted this week in his quest to trade away all tangible assets as soon as possible. So quarterback spot here has not been traded away. And it's a Lamar against the Cardinals. It's a really good spot last week. May have shown us that the Ravens have like figured out their new offense, and maybe this new up tempo, pass it everywhere, let Lamar be a monster thing is really going to happen. So 338 to me seems a little bit light based on what he did last week and what this matchup looks like. Josh Allen played Thursday. 446 was the number. He's good. I was watching the Gophers get beat by Wisconsin, so I didn't see the game. But I looked at the stats like it did. It was like towards the end of the first quarter, and he had like 170 points or something. So that's why the dude gets drafted in the first round, because you can do that. Running backs, Ross got a nice game from Rachaad White against the Bills, 116. There he's good at receiving, not that good at rushing, but the points count the same. So 116 points is good. He's got Jaylen Warren as the second running back. He's like kind of the 1A, 1B kind of guy with Najee. So 63 points against the Jags there. I'm rolling with Gibbs and Breece Hall this week. So Gibbs gets the Raiders on Monday night. Did just see that David Montgomery was ruled out, so he should be the workhorse against the Raiders at home. Seems like a good spot. And then Breece Hall gets the Giants. It's on the road, but whatever. It's the same stadium. So the Giants have been decent, and the Jets decent against the run, and the Jets' offensive line is pretty beat up. And Zach Wilson is a quarterback, so there's always some concern there. But roll with Breece over Ken Walker. Ken Walker's got the Browns this week, which scares me a little bit. Wide receiver, another nice night. Ross gets Gabe Davis as a throw-in the Jacoby Myers and Tony Pollard trade is today, who puts up 116 points after scoring, I think it was like 21 points the previous 2 weeks combined. So nice night from Gabe, offset some of those Josh Allen points there from Thursday. Josh Downs is the number 2 wide receiver, probably the number 3, whatever. He's the other starter for Ross. He's in a really good spot against the Saints. The Saints have been getting ripped by the slot receivers, and that's what Josh Downs does. He was really good last week too. So 68 points seems light to me. I think that he's gonna go over that for sure. It's a good spot. DK gets the Browns. We talked a lot about the Seahawks and Browns so far, but tougher matchup against the Browns. They haven't really been allowing too much in the way of passing, but DK's big guy and can always put up a big number, so got to be in lineup. And then in that same game again, Njoku gets to start over Michael Mayer for Ross, and Njoku's been good, like good enough, not great, but that's what happens when Mark Andrews is on the other side of this matchup. So my pass catchers, I need to make a move there to activate Tyreek after a little potential hip injury earlier in the week. But Tyreek gets the Patriots, 132 points is the projection. I'm not sure I believe it. The Patriots have been pretty good against them. They shut them down earlier this year already. And I'm just not expecting the boom game this week from him. Keenan Allen gets the Bears. I like that matchup. Similar to what I said about today. If the Chargers stop passing, then maybe that's a problem. And then Amon-Ra against the Raiders. Don't take my chances there. The Raiders haven't allowed a ton of passing yards, but they haven't played a lot of good teams either. And then Andrews against the Cardinals. Looks like I could have started Dalton Kincaid and done fine there, but Mark Andrews is usually a safer bet. So I'll take Andrews to hopefully offset a fair chunk of the Lamar points here. So add in the kickers and the defenses, and it shows a big number for me, probably mostly driven by Josh Allen. So I'll sneak by the carcass of the boot barn. I will, of course, be tracking what this would look like with Tony Pollard and AJ Brown and Mark Andrews against me this week. But I do think the Josh Allen game on Thursday night probably turns out to be the difference. All right, so last matchup of the week here is Corey versus Solomon. So similar to the Jake and Today matchup, I feel like this is a big one. It doesn't quite, if Solomon gets the win here, it doesn't quite pull him even with Corey, but I think it's a tone setter. Solomon was fairly, fairly confident that his win over Kevin was a turning point in his season, and then it really hasn't been. He's lost both games after he beat Kevin, so he kind of needs this one to get back on track, and if Corey can get the win here. And the predictions from earlier in this preview come true. Corey would be sitting at 5-3 with everybody else at 2-6. So 3-game lead on last playoff spot there, or the second playoff spot there with 6 weeks ago. It seemed pretty good. So I think Solomon definitely needs a big win here. So looking at the quarterback, Corey's got Mahomes. It's probably always going to be an advantage. So 393 against the terrible Broncos. Maybe Snow's the equalizer there that brings Mahomes down a little bit. But that matchup and that dude are always scary. So Trevor Lawrence gets the Steelers. They're on the road at the Steelers. It's like Trevor Lawrence just needs to do more. His biggest game of the year is like 371. Otherwise, he's just like right around 300 points all the time. I think he's definitely the guy that needs to do more for Solomon to get a win here and get a win in future weeks too. So the running back spot, Josh Jacobs gets the Lions on Monday night. Lions D has been really good. They obviously weren't last week against the Ravens, but that's a tougher matchup for Jacobs. Still at 99 points there. Pacheco against the Broncos is not a tough matchup. These guys played like a couple weeks ago, and the Chiefs didn't go nuts on the Broncos at home. We'll see how that goes this week. Seems like it could be a Pacheco week this week. Solomon gets Saquon against the Jets. Tougher matchup there. The Jets D is pretty solid, and then Bijan gets the Titans. Another solid run defense there. So the numbers are still up there for both of those guys. I think Bijan gets the 107 because he's probably going to catch the ball maybe more or as much as he runs. So maybe the run defense doesn't matter as much. And then Saquon's just going to touch the ball a ton. But don't feel like those are boom games for those guys. Pass catchers, got Devontae against the Lions on Monday night. He's always a threat to go nuts. It just hasn't happened as much this week. Seems like Jimmy G should play, so that's probably a good thing. But 95 points is where we're at. Mike Evans gets a 62 point, gets a touchdown late for the 62 points on Thursday night against the Bills. And then Drake London gets the Titans 74. He's fine. They just don't pass the ball enough to rely on a big number there. Then Evan Ingram has been around 100 points most weeks this year. It's the Steelers, and that's another one where you have the offset with Trevor Lawrence. So I'll definitely be hoping that Lawrence is not throwing to Ingram, and Corey will be hoping for the opposite. On the Solomon side, this trio of receivers probably disappointing compared to what Solomon's hopes were early in the year. So Cooper does not have Deshaun Watson throwing him the ball, and the Seahawks corners are tough. So it's a tougher matchup there. 73 points is the prediction. Calvin Ridley, 75 against the Steelers. It just seems generous. He just hasn't been as good as he was in week 1, where he just looked like a monster. So I think that's another key for Solomon here. If that Lawrence Ridley connection can get going, but it'll definitely help him. And then Garrett Wilson gets the Giants. Zach Wilson throwing the ball instead of Aaron Rodgers, which is a big difference. So 79 points. He's still just crazy good. I just wish it's somebody that could get him the ball. Hawkinson is just gonna crush. He catches everything. They throw him the ball a million times a game with JJ out. So 143 for Hawk is the prediction. So throwing the kickers and the defenses here, and he got Solomon to like a 57, or sorry, Corey, like a 57 point win. But I do think that Corey will keep rolling, but Lawrence just can fucking get better. And the snow in Denver slows down Mahomes and Pacheco. Lawrence to Ridley stuff happens, and Hawk has a big game. I think Solomon could get there. So that's it for the matchups. We'll just go through the summary here. You got Tank over Daggy, comfortably 215-point margin today, and Jake in a close one. Again, talked about the 3 games there that I think will swing that matchup heavily. Ryan over Greg, depth of Ryan's team there, gets them the 123-point victory. Me over Ross, 329 just seems excessive, but it won't be 329. It'll be closer than that. And then Corey over Solomon, which just mentioned the key things in that one. Lock of the week, I'm gonna go with Ryan over Greg. So that's all I got for this week. Talked longer than I thought I was going to, so sorry about that. But good luck to everybody. Hope nobody gets hurt in our teams, and hope everybody gets a win. Talk to you later.